Why do I need a trust? What does a trust do that joint ownership or beneficiary designations cannot do?
Welcome to Barry's Bites. Please join our host, attorney and financial advisor Chris Barry.
Trust is a tool. First, we figure out what is your goal and then figure out the best strategy and then pick the right tool. So not everyone needs a trust. Like I talked about last week, estate planning really kind of addresses some key issues. So the first thing is avoiding probate. Everyone wants to avoid probate. Probate's a bad thing. It's costly. It's time consuming. So we want to avoid probate. Second, we need to control people to a certain extent. And third, a lot of people want to protect against predators, whether those predators are the IRS or long-term care costs, et cetera. So avoiding probate, how can we do that? Well, we need to understand how estate administration works. So estate administration, there's 4 ways assets transfer. One is through joint ownership. So joint ownership is great for a married couple, but I wouldn't recommend naming anyone else joint on your accounts. Like you shouldn't be naming your kids joint on those things because you're opening yourself up to all the potential liabilities of those people. Second way assets may pass are through beneficiary designations. One question I always ask, so one potential problem, what have you done with the house? We need to make sure we do a ladybird deed. 3 would be a trust. So yeah, to answer your question, if you're only looking to avoid probate, you can rely on any one of these 3 mechanisms to avoid probate. All of them are viable. All of them avoid probate. So if your goal is to avoid probate, don't need necessarily a trust if your only goal is to avoid probate. But beneficiary designations, really what you're doing is just launching a pillowcase of money at beneficiaries. And that could be a problem for 1 or 2 reasons. One, poor financial mismanagement. Like I got off a call today with a client and she has a 23-year-old son and doesn't want to leave everything outright to a 23-year-old because she's concerned about poor mismanagement of the money. He's not going to spend the money wisely. He makes some poor choices. But most of my clients, they feel comfortable with their kids and they're comfortable with them managing the money after death. But then we get into some of the people problems. And this is where, through proper trust design, we can protect against some of these things. And this is where trust can help out. So maybe instead of the outright distribution, maybe what we're concerned about is not the poor financial mismanagement of the beneficiaries, but maybe we're concerned about the outside environment. Maybe we're concerned that if, hey, we're leaving things to a child, an adult child that's married and has kids of their own, what happens if that child gets a divorce? Maybe half that money could be lost. What happens if that child passes away? Well, all that money might go to a spouse versus going to an in-law. So one of the reasons why some clients do opt for a trust is because they want to give the opportunity to their children or beneficiaries so that whatever they inherit from them, if anything, are protected for their lifetime from creditors, from divorces, and the money stays in the bloodline, stays in the family. So if a child passes away, the money doesn't go to an in-law who might remarry, it goes down to the beneficiaries. Beneficiary designations and joint ownership, they avoid probate, but they don't answer some of the people problems that can arise in estate planning. And a lot of times my clients do trust their kids. It's just they don't trust the outside environment with the divorces, creditors, bankruptcies. So that's why I would say a majority of my clients do lean towards a trust, but I don't think everyone needs a trust because it's based on your goals. And then we figure out what are the best strategies, and then maybe a trust makes sense. And then also, we haven't even gotten into protection from things like long-term care costs. There might be tax reasons why we want to do a trust. There might be other asset protection reasons to do a trust. So yeah, if our goal is just to avoid probate, everyone's kind of first starting point is there, then maybe we don't need a trust. But if we get into some of these people issues, maybe I want one person wrapping up my affairs, that type of thing, then we need to get into deciding whether a trust makes sense. And then if you have some goals of asset protection or protection from long-term care, then for sure need to talk trusts, not just relying on beneficiary designations and joint ownership.